for once in the last week, because I'm assuming you're in this situation, you're watching this video, you don't feel very good, you hope that someone's coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not the government. They can offer advice and tools, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to change your mind, view your situation from a new perspective, and act regardless of how you feel. This video is for those that feel like they are in a dark place or feel like they are lost. I want to come in and hopefully provide a framework or at least some clarity to help you dig yourself out. Because, as is the title of this video, nobody's going to save you. What that means is that I'm not going to save you either. And the mindset that you have to adopt from the beginning of this video is that if you don't take responsibility of digging yourself out of that hole, you are not going to get out of that hole. And by complaining and whining, like most people do, you're only going to dig yourself further in. This topic of nobody can be saved usually comes into play when you're actually trying to do something with your life. You're trying to take back control of your life. You're trying to start a business. You're trying to learn a new skill. You're trying to become financially free. You're trying to potentially find someone to get into a relationship with. You're trying to clear your mind so that you can have better ideas, so that you can act in a better direction, because ideas beget behavior, and you can't act on something that you don't know is possible. Or you could just be trying to get fit or really do anything to just make your quality of life that much better. The problem is that we live in a generation of whiners and complainers. They are abundant. You can find them online. You find them in the comment section. You find them literally everywhere. I'm sure you have friends that whine and complain. I'm sure you have parents that whine and complain. And the more you've surrounded yourself with these people, the more you've unconsciously adopted that as your own behavior. And then as you whine and complain about your own situation, you further narrow and close your mind off to finding a potential solution to help you reach that next phase of business, health, relationships, whatever it is that you're pursuing right now. The one thing that I want you to realize, just think rationally. Just think for once in the last week, because I'm assuming you're in this situation, you're watching this video, you don't feel very good, you hope that someone's coming to save you, but they aren't, you haven't yet made the crucial realization that you have to make that whining or complaining, if you just think it through, is not going to help you at all. That's not doing anything for the situation that you're in at all. The only thing that can solve the problem is solving the problem. That means solving, not solve, not solve. It's future tense. It means you're doing something. You're solving. You're moving. Because if you're not moving, that means you're stagnant. And if you're stagnant, that means you're not putting effort or energy into the system that leads to the potential end result that you want, that solves the problem. Therefore, that's when entropy comes into play, and if you don't know what entropy is, that is the gradual decline into chaos if energy is not put into the system. It's the fact that everything falls apart. It's the Buddhist principle of impermanence, that everything is changing, and with entropy, it goes even further to say that everything is in decline, unless effort is put into maintaining the system. Now, the practical example of that is just books on a bookshelf. While books are very durable, they can end up all over your house. They can warp. The spine can warp. They can get damaged just in general when you pass them off to a friend. They can get lost at a friend's house if you don't put effort into maintaining the order of your bookshelf. The same comes into play for cleaning your room. How many of you had to have your mom clean your room when you were a kid? Probably a lot of you, unless she told you to, because she understood that if you did not clean your room, it would just get dirtier and dirtier and dirtier until it just became uninhabitable. But at that point, your identity follows suit, and it affects your mind so much that your mind in that environment becomes that environment. It becomes dirty and sloppy and can't think in a clear, corrected manner. So I could give you tips like go make your bed every morning, or organize your bookshelf, or clear off your desk, which I literally just did. But I'm not going to give you those because that's not very big picture. That's good for just adopting as a habit, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. Now, another problem before we actually dive into solutions is the fact that most people ask for advice as a procrastination method to hide from the problems that they need to solve themselves. What I mean by that, and as a person who has a decent amount of followers on social media, I see this all the time. I cannot name how many times people have commented asking for advice under a video, under a post, on Twitter or Instagram, and I've answered that just for them to go on and completely ignore it, or ask another one, or just say that I'm flat out wrong. What was the purpose of asking the question in the first place if you're already set on keeping your mind closed and not opening it to a potential solution? To me, it seems like people don't want solutions. They want to feel as if they know what the solution is. They want the dopamine hit that comes from telling people that they're doing things or that they're trying to accomplish something, as opposed to reaping the dopamine that comes from actually achieving the goal. This is an actual scientific thing. I forget the exact study, but there's a study that shows that dopamine is released in the same manner for telling people you're pursuing a goal as it is for actually achieving the goal. So, a lot of people get addicted to telling people what they're doing so that other people approve of them and think highly of them, rather than just staying quiet, building, solving the problem, and then showing them, saying, hey, look, this is what I solved. So one potential trap that you should stay out of is to just ignore the desire to tell every single person what they're doing, because, like, again, you think this thing through, that's not going to lead to anywhere good. The only good thing it could lead to is them potentially helping you. That is on a case-by-case situation. So, what I'd rather you do is just stay quiet, start building, and tell people what you're building. Not, I'm building this, think highly of me. Saying, I'm building this, here's how you can benefit.
Kain ka na.
Now, the last reason you feel stuck or trapped, or you feel like you need someone to come save you, is that you haven't expanded your mind beyond the problem, so it's impossible to solve. If your mind is only focused on the problem, that means it's not focused on a solution. And when you don't know what the solution is, and you have a goal but you're not clear on how to get there, your mind does this magical thing called pattern recognition, where you pick up information in the environment that helps you achieve the goal. So if your main focus is the problem, you're going to further dig yourself into the problem. If your focus is the goal, and you consciously condition yourself to continue focusing on the goal. This is like a form of positive thinking, but not the delusional positive thinking of like, oh, just think positive all the time. Because evil exists, negativity exists. That's a stupid way to go about life, and it leads to more negativity than just being negative at times and learning to deal with that. So, back to the point, when you focus on the goal, even if you don't know what it is, you continue focusing on that goal, your mind will pick up ideas that help you achieve the goal. When you're reading a book, any book, your mind will bias the information and ideas that you highlight that will help you achieve the goal. I'm sure you've already experienced this, and this goes for conversations too. When you have more conversations with people, or when you're scrolling on social media, you will pick up the information that helps you achieve the goal that is on your mind. To further hammer home this idea is that everyone that has different goals on their mind are going to highlight different things in books. They're going to pick up different things in conversations. Their perception is going to be framed to be advantageous toward the end goal that they're pursuing. And if you're pursuing the problem, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you're going to fail. Now, the first step to getting out of this rut, or just taking back control of your life, is one, just having a goal. If you don't know what your goal is, I'm assuming that you have other people that you aspire to be like. You have something. Like, don't tell me that you don't know what you want to be or what goal you have. You're lying to yourself. Just sit back and think. It doesn't even have to be that accurate at first. It just has to be a minimum viable goal, something that you can at least start to put effort and energy into, because that's the only time when motivation and passion will start to build. You don't just become motivated, but become passionate. It comes at the inception of a goal and investing energy into the goal. And actually moving toward the goal is where those things come from. So, what you need to do is you need to just have this faint image of a goal or vision that you want to actualize. And now, you need to start stacking ideas that bias that goal or vision. So, you need to change your mind and expand your mind by reading new books, having more conversations, intentional conversations, not just mindless conversations with your friends like, oh, did you play that new video game? I don't even know what people talk about nowadays that has nothing to do with any of the goals they're trying to achieve. Start the conversations with your friends, with your parents, with your partners, with whoever. have the conversation framed around the goal you're trying to achieve so that you can gain more clarity on how to achieve it, and if you even want to achieve that goal, because only by starting conversations in that direction, whether they're actual verbal conversations or conversations